Okay, it just hit in the top of the hour, so we'll get ready to make a start. I think a few more people are starting to enter the room as well. So hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Hassan Hussein, and I'm the Chief Revenue Officer at Leadership Tribe. Today, very pleased to be joined by three fantastic guests who have been, I'm happy to say they're here to share their experiences with you from attending some of our live public training classes, particularly from the Agile Coaching Bootcamp track, the ICP, ATF and ACC classes. So the goal of today's webinar really is to just give anybody who's been considering taking one of these courses but are still not quite sure it's the right one for them, just giving them a bit of an opportunity to learn more about what it's actually like to be a part of the course, what the main takeaways are, how beneficial the course has been to their career after that, and also just hear some stories and get some general feedback from some real life attendees. There's also opportunity as well to ask some questions at the end. So you can also bring your own questions to the panel, and we'll answer whatever we have time for to fit in. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we begin. We're scheduled to run for an hour, so we'll do our best to respect everybody's time and stick to that. But if necessary, I'll be happy to stay behind for any of the attendees who have any additional questions or any more information. I can leave the room open for a little bit longer at the end to address those. And we also like the session to be as interactive as possible, but also given the speakers their opportunity to speak and say what they want. So as I mentioned, we'll be doing a Q&A session at the end. If I could ask, if you do have any questions during any of the presentations, rather than the chat box, please use the Q&A box, which is in the Zoom toolbar. That will log the questions in there. That way, everybody can see them. It won't disrupt the flow of the presentation, and we can make sure they're covered and answered as many as we can at the end. So, okay, cool. So before we jump in, we'll just very quickly give a little bit of an overview of who we are. Leadership Tribe, we're a global consultancy. We specialize in training and business transformation projects. But what we're really here to focus on today, and what we're going to spend our time talking about, is specifically the IC Agile training that we offer. And the two main courses that we're here to talk about today is Agile Team Facilitation and the Agile Coaching Certification. They both form part of our Agile Coaching Bootcamp. They're internationally recognized and globally recognized certifications. They're run by IC Agile, which again is a globally recognized governing body. And it's been one of our most popular courses we've run as a company. So one of the main drivers running this webinar was to try and address as many of those questions we're getting as possible about what it's like to actually go through these courses and what the benefits are. Now there's, as with ICP, ATF and ACC both being certified courses, there's certain learning objectives that are as standard. So wherever you get your training, whether it's with Leadership Tribe or with somebody else, you are going to be getting trained up to a certain standard, and you are going to be meeting those same learning objectives. And IC Agile do a great job of making sure all their partners are up to that kind of level as well. But what we try and do with our Leadership Tribe is try and do things a little bit differently. We try to inject our own brand of style into our training sessions. We've invested very heavily since we've gone online into things like studio quality equipment. So when we have our live classes, you'll be trained by somebody that's using, the highest level of technology when it comes to audio and visual abilities. We've also got editing tools as well that would rival some TV channels at the moment. Krishna, our lead trainer, loves to play with new gadgets all the time. Anyone who's seen him on his courses will know that. We try to make the sessions as active as possible and interactive as possible using breakout rooms. And we will regularly have multiple facilitators on the courses as well. So in a real life situation, training in person, the lead trainer can be walking around the room and listening and joining in during breakout sessions. we try to mimic that as best we can by having our facilitators rotating around constantly in and out of the rooms, spending time where they need to. And we've also got our schedules online, whether you're based in the US, US, Europe, or Asia. We've got time zone friendly start and end times to try and accommodate as best we can across the globe. And one thing that's gathering a lot of momentum as well is our alumni network. Over the years now, we've trained so many people that we keep in touch with, whether it's through coming to additional training sessions to improve their learning, just to be part of our ongoing webinars like we've got today, some former alumni members joining us to share their experiences, or just to work together. We've got some that have created their own cohort groups and they meet up regularly just to discuss how they're going and coach each other and help each other along. And also, we also advertise any potential vacancies we have coming up, or if you need support on a particular client project, we go to our alumni member first before we go out to the market. So these are all some of the benefits you've got of training with Leadership Tribe and our courses. So last bit about this before we get into why you all signed up, which is to hear from our participants. We've decided, because of the popularity of these two courses, that we are going to be running monthly courses in ATF and ACC from now until the rest of 2022, not the rest of 2023, sorry, until 2023 and the rest of 2022, that should say. So we're going to run them monthly rather than quarterly because we are getting so many participants at the moment. And we are going to be running a special offer to attendees of this webinar. We're going to give the promotion code at the end of the speaks, just before the Q&A session, where there'll be a special offer in place for you if you want to book any of our courses over the rest of the year. We'll release the promotion code at the end of this. We've also added the ability as well to, when you buy your ticket, to bolt on one-to-one coaching with our trainers. So this is something that's been very popular recently. We've had a number of attendees to our courses reach out afterwards to either the trainer or to us, trainer directly, or to us as a company, to try and schedule in one-to-one hour-long sessions for coaching and mentoring from the trainers themselves. Well, the great news is now on our website, when you go to book your classes online to attend, you'll now get the option, once you pick your ticket, to say whether you want to add on 1, 2, or 3 hours of additional one-to-one coaching as well. So that's being launched today. That's also being launched today, and the promotion that we're releasing will include a special offer on those as well. So that's enough of the shameless plug of Leadership Tribe and what we do. We're going to now jump into the reason why we are all here, which is to listen to our lovely speakers. So we are going to start off today with Moritz, who's going to have a chat with us around the ICP ATF, Agile Team Facilitation Training Session. So what I'm going to do is, Lindy and Kevin, I'm just going to take your pins off for a second so we can spotlight our man of the moment. If you give me a second, there we go. So hopefully you see the two of us now. So just to give a little bit of an intro, Moritz, for the floor is yours. Moritz has been working with a German battery manufacturer for over 5 years, starting his career as a Scrum Master within the strategic product development projects. He soon coordinated to the first serial production of a Chinese subsidiary working on site. After returning back to the German HQ from China, he changed to the engineering department, where he supported the strategic project and a new production plant in Poland. During this period, he gained in-depth knowledge about classical management approaches within investment goods. But over the last 2 years, he's finished his MBA in Innovations and Leadership and is now moved to London to continue his agile development and career. So we've got a new expert in the field of leadership and agile in the mix here in London. So I'm sure you'll remember the name and see it a lot in future. But Moritz, over to you to say hello.
Thank you so much, Hassan, for this introduction, which is actually quite accurate to what we discussed. So this is already really good. Just a few more words. where I come from is really like this product development background within manufacturing goods. So basically what I've also seen during my MBA and my MBA thesis, where I looked in depth into these manufacturing companies in Germany, is to see these agile approaches spreading even in hardware components and manufacturing goods. So software development, it kind of seems just state of the art at the moment, but to really see these benefits you can gain also in physical product development, for me, were fantastic. And after this 5 years now with the German battery manufacturer, being here in London, this is where I want to kickstart my career and in agile development. There we go.
Thank you, Moritz. Well, hopefully anybody on the call and anybody in their networks who's looking for somebody in agile at the moment, we've got a candidate sitting right here. But for now though, it'll be good just to answer some of the questions that I think a lot of people are interested in hearing about. First of all, ICP ATF, Agile Team Facilitation. Was there a reason why that was the course you were looking at?
When I came here, I had enough time to research what I want to do and where I want to go. And after checking all these massive impact you can get with whatever courses there are, I mean, there's a multitude everywhere, and really to get into it, it's hard to see which one is perfect. But I realized for me to start with the ATF sort of builds the foundation of where I come from, being at first the Scrum Master, really being a facilitator without actually knowing it back then, 5 years ago. So for me, this was the idea to say ATF is the first step to build the foundation of where I want to go. And as it turns out, it was actually helping me to see where to go. I hope this answers your first question.
Yeah, no, it does. It's actually a very common starting point for a lot of people looking at the agile coaching and just generally understanding how they can get their day more efficient. I regularly say to people that are considering the Agile Team Facilitation course that if you even drop the word agile off the front of it, it's a very, very useful course, I think, for anybody, because it just teaches you how to facilitate, how to run efficient meetings, how to get the best out of time and time blocking. So the fact it's got agile is a bit of a bonus.
That's really true, because what you realize is you learn so much about your own position and where you are, about your personality, what you want to concentrate on, even in the course, because it's so interactive. I mean, when I was participating, it got you thinking, okay, what is your idea? And to translate this into your own field of where you work was for me great to see, because we had participants from the USA, me in London, and some from Malaysia and India at the same time in this meeting. And to see most of them working in software and using these online tools there are at the moment for basically due to Corona was amazing to see, and to actually apply themselves during these breakout sessions and just get it going. For me, this was great, because when I got in touch with Scrum, this was really like the old school, you would say now, having this boards at the back and daily working on it, so this was very lovely to see.
Excellent. That's great. And what would you say one of the key takeaways from this course is for you?
One of the key takeaways, basically, I would say there are 2 or 3. The first thing was for me really to see the tools that you can apply on a daily basis. It doesn't matter if you work in an agile team, as you just said, actually preparing yourself and preparing these team meetings you have, it doesn't matter which one they are. This is what you already see is really, really helpful to organize yourself and your teamwork. The second one is based on this group we had of really these different time zones all over the world. You get in touch with them, you build contacts, you have new networks around the world, and you learn directly from their experience, which they share with you on their specific project. I mean, it's an online meeting. Of course, they can't tell too much, but still to see how they develop or how they use these tools in their own profession was really great. And the third thing, basically what I mentioned in the beginning as well, to learn about yourself as well during this time, where you are with using these tools, and definitely where you can improve. This was great to see.
Excellent. Yeah, no, I think you've touched on another great point in there as well. We have a number of clients who come to us looking at first for private training, where they want to get, 10 to 15 of their employees, sometimes from one team or business unit together to go through the training. And we sometimes advise that it actually can be more beneficial and valuable to, rather than have a private training, is have them join our public training, sometimes in groups, because then you're going to hear a different perspective from outside your organization and outside of the way of working that your company is used to, and be able to bounce ideas off each other and get sometimes an impartial viewpoint on the, especially
definitely to say like you see the state of the art. And I mean, sometimes companies tend to believe they're best in the world, but then you have a first meeting with someone else. All right.
Yeah, suddenly realize, that's right. So definitely a lot of benefits in that, and the way we actively encourage as well on our courses, especially with the breakout rooms. We try and say, don't bring hypotheticals into the room, bring real problems you have in your business life, or any real problems you have, because real problems can have a real solution. Whereas if we do hypotheticals, it's very easy just to say the right words and go along with the script. So we try to really actively encourage that. Excellent. And looking at leadership tribe, your experience of leadership tribe in general, anything that you felt was a little bit different learning with us as opposed to other training you've taken in the past?
Well, as you mentioned already in your introduction of leadership tribe, I was thinking in my head, okay, I can take this one, I can take this one, I can take this one, because this is what I experienced, to really have this interactivity, you learn. I mean, this was a long days for some of our Malaysian friends. They were working already 8 to 9 hours and then had their session at night until, I don't know, 2:30 in the morning. And even they said, well, they didn't feel sleepy at all because it was continuously interactive and you were continuously challenged all the time. But in a way, you were not tired. And to really see this, not only as being my experience here, to see this even for these guys, was one of the biggest advantage, which I have not experienced before. I mean, definitely not in university, definitely not in some additional trainings we had in our company. So there we go.
Fantastic. Thank you. That's something that we're quite proud of internally, and our trainers all work very hard to have that. It's like some of the most positive feedback we can get, because everyone knows that training can drag on, and particularly in this new world when it's done by Zoom, death by PowerPoint is very real. So we try to avoid that as best we can. So that's really pleasing to hear.
Definitely. One last thing, this high motivation from the trainer themselves. I mean, if anyone meets Krishna in the future, what an amazing guy. And I'm sure the other trainers have the same level of motivation. This is what the group keeps going. So really grateful for that.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'll pass that feedback on to him. But Krishna is amazing. And to be honest, all of our trainers are. He's our lead trainer and our lead coach for all of them. So any trainers that we work with, they go through his method of training, his style of training, his method. We're regularly quite proud of the feedback we get from NPS scores and client feedback across the board. But no, that is, Moritz, that was great. Thank you very much. Really appreciate your time on the points you've made as well. And I think what you said a bit earlier on as well, also about coming to the UK and wanting to kind of gain a certification for your CV. I think having a recognized body like IC Agile on your CV, it lets potential employees know that you're trained to a certain standard. And IC Agile do a great job of making sure that their trainers are at that standard, and the learning objectives are always met on anyone who goes through any of their courses. And it can be the difference really between two candidates with similar experience. but one can quantify the quality of their work by having the certification on their CV and on their profile. So no, thank you very much for sharing that. Hopefully you'll be happy to stay online and join us for the Q&A at the end as well. I'm sure we'll have some more questions there. So Moritz, thank you very much. Thank you. Good stuff. So we'll now have a chat with Lindy. If I can add that pin. There we go. Here she is. Hey, Lindy.
Hi, how are you, Hus?
Good, thank you. I'm good. Thank you for joining us. Now, Lindy, so I'll give a little bit of an introduction first of all. Feel free to add some more at the end. But Lindy, you're our learning and forum manager at YPO. And your kind of main passions are looking at agility and professional coaching within organizations. So you've been doing that for a long time. And your vision is to be an advocate for agility in the workplace and for organizations to adopt an agile mindset and practices to improve teamwork, be more innovative, and deliver better customer value. I know in the background, you've got a lot of experience in regional marketing and product management during your time at Johnson & Johnson, and experience in development and implementation of leadership programs to enhance leadership capabilities within organizations. So I know you're an IT Agile accredited trainer and you're an executive coach as well. So really, really pleased to have you with us today. Thank you, Lindy. I know we've worked together on a few things over the years as well, haven't we?
Yes, we have. We have. Thank you so much, Hus.
Thanks, Lindy. Good stuff. So just remind me, how long ago was it you did the ACC course? I'm just thinking, I don't think...
the ACC course, I would say was probably about 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago. Yeah. Yes, that's when I basically did the first ACC course with Krishna. And something that I want to add to, I think that you mentioned as well, Hus, is, that these, I'm not coming from a pure product management sort of background, more like a coaching and a people development background. However, these courses are useful for anybody and everyone. And I really want to stress that because, I think once you have the agile skill set, tool set, and mindset, regardless of where you work or what you do, you'll be able to be equipped to really handle day-to-day challenges and to also get sustainable results. So I'm very passionate about agility since I've been introduced to it. And
very good point. Yes. No, great points. And I definitely couldn't agree more. So certainly on this particular track, ATF and ACC, I think they're just excellent skills for any team, anybody at any level will get benefit from these courses. So what stage of your career would you say you were at when you first started investigating courses like this?
Okay, so I have been a professional coach for 12 years. And because I wanted to learn more about agile coaching and how to make a bigger impact within organizations, I started to explore more about agile coaching. Again, I think what is important, it links to my passion, which is to create agility within organizations so that there's more synergy, that there's more innovation, and specifically more teamwork, and that people are open, that there's psychological safety. So I think everything that I saw in this course really linked to my background. And that, so that's when I started looking at it, as I said, like 3 years ago, to explore, how can I enhance my coaching skills in terms of bringing that agile perspective to what I'm doing at the moment.
Got you. Understood. And the learning objectives, any learning objectives in particular that stood out for you?
Yes, definitely. Definitely the agile coaching role, because we know that coaching is a part of being an agile coach. We also need to be able to facilitate. We need to be able to mentor. We need to have some business acumen. So for me, I wanted to learn more about just learning the skill of coaching, more about the competency framework of an agile coach. And the other objective that really attracted me to the course was to learn about team development, and how to overcome dysfunctions within a team by using coaching skills. And that is the reason why this course really appealed to me.
Excellent. Yeah, I think there's one section in particular on the ACC course where there's a role play regarding handling dysfunction within the team. That is always, I think, for some people, the most fun and really valuable learning experience. If you're lucky/unlucky person who's the running the team meeting for that, depending on how you want to look at it, but it's always a lot of fun. So just for anybody who's not been on our course so far, that we try and keep things as interactive as possible. And there is an excellent role-playing session involving how to handle dysfunctional personas, where each participant gets allocated a dysfunction, which some people can pull off a lot easier than others. must say, when I got given electronics Eddie and I have to sit on my phone tapping away the whole time, I felt that naturally worked quite well for me. That one, not much acting was needed. But yeah, it's a great learning tool. That one, it really does. It's a fun way of learning. It gets the point across very well. So yeah, I know that is definitely a popular topic for the Agile Coaching certification track. Excellent. And what would you say your biggest key takeaways are from the ACC course?
I think my biggest takeaways is really how to integrate coaching skills in your work and personal life. As I said, it's something that you can use on a daily basis in your personal life as well as in your work life, because it really enhances your servant leadership skills. It also empowers yourself, but it helps you to learn more about yourself. So enhancing self-awareness. So, if we're thinking about coaching, it's all about becoming self-aware, and the more self-aware we become, the better leaders we become. So I see coaching and facilitation and mentoring as tools that can help us to be servant leaders. So I think that for me was the biggest takeaway, is the self-awareness, is to become more self-aware and to know that it's a continuous journey of growth.
Absolutely, I think, and it's a great first step to that journey, because it teaches you how to sometimes even understand what your way of learning is, and how to interact with other people and get the best out of them, and also what resonates best with you, so you can, with yourself. I think you're great. Yeah, it's an excellent self-learning tool as well. And any recommendations you would make to anybody considering taking the course like this?
Well, I would definitely say just do it.
Okay.
It will enrich you on any level, on your professional, your personal level, and on top of that, you will gain an international qualification. So I know there's many courses out there that where you can learn coaching and facilitation. However, when we're looking at IC Agile courses, they are internationally recognized courses. They're recognized worldwide. It's definitely going to help you to if you put it on your CV or on your profile, LinkedIn profile, it is definitely going to give you that, a little bit more credibility as well. I would say for anybody that's considering coaching, do it, or facilitation or any of these courses, just do it. You will never regret it, because it is something that will enrich you on a personal level and on a work level.
Fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. So like I said earlier, drop the word agile out of it. They're just good skills to have. Everything is facilitation, everything is coaching, everything is communication. So excellent.
Absolutely.
And just finally, how do you feel Leadership Tribe differs from any other training that you've had?
Well, I think what was important for me about leadership training, Leadership Tribe, is they are a very unique training company, specifically because I think, the trainers, when they train, they really train from the heart, and they really care about the participants. And it's not just delivering this content and, ticking off a box. It is really finding out what is it that each participant wants, how can we meet the needs of that specific participant for them to be able to walk away. That's the first part. So I think the passion and, the intent of Leadership Tribe is just so different, I think, from many other training companies. That's the first step. The secondly, what's important for me as well is, because we're doing a lot of online work nowadays, it is extremely interactive and engaging. It is not a course where you're just going to sit and listen to somebody. You're going to be going into breakout rooms. You're going to practice these skills so that you are actually able to do coaching from day one when you actually go back into your workspace after you've done the course. So I think the impact that this does on a personal level, work level, but also the way that it's delivered is extremely enjoyable. It's enriching. And as I said, Leadership Tribe just stands out from all the other training companies.
Thank you. No, we've, I don't take any credit for it, but the trainers we've got are fantastic. They're the stars of the show, and and I think where I see it really ringing true is not just in the enjoyment and the NPS scores and the feedbacks directly after the sessions, but it's the long-term relationships that get built as a result of people just attending our training sessions and still wanting to be involved with the Leadership Tribe and work with us. So yeah, that's the side of it that I see. And what are your next steps looking like for your learning journey? You said earlier it never ends. So what are your next steps?
It never ends. I think once you taste Agile, you'll never stop. You'll just continue to read about it, continue to learn about it, because really the world does need it. Organizations need it. And I think what is important for me personally is to introduce it into organizations. That is my passion, that's my vision, to transform organizations and to see the benefit of agility, to create more awareness about the benefits, as I said, for leaders to be able to have the skill of coaching, to have the skill of facilitation. And, as I said, to continue to practice. Because when we do these courses, it's where your journey starts. I always say this is where my journey starts. So it's to continuously practice these skills and to be able to use it in situations that is going to help you to solve problems and to overcome obstacles and to build relationships. Okay, that's also something that's very important. Fantastic. So that's just to continue on the Agile journey.
Yeah. Onwards and upwards. No, that's great. Thank you so much, Lindy. That was really useful, really great to hear. And I think also it's clear that the relationship and the people side of change management and transformation management, getting the best out of people, really it's the people, the relationship side, I think, the communication, how to work with people rather than against them, how to get them on your side, how to motivate. All key skills, any organization you go to, any team, any level, they're skills that are constantly developing, and no two companies have got the same DNA or the same culture. They can be exact competitors with the same products or same market on paper, but when you get into those organizations, it's very different. And we see that a lot on the consulting side of things as well. So the skills you pick up along the way and the constant learning journey never really ends. So that's great. So thank you, Lindy. Looking forward to hearing more from you in the Q&A session at the end. So much appreciated, Lindy. Thanks very much. Thank you.
Thanks for that.
Thank you. So finally, our last panelist today is Kevin. Let me just find the pin. There we go. Hi, Kevin. You hear us okay?
Good morning. Yes, I can hear you guys.
Good stuff. Thank you for your patience. Much appreciated.
Thanks for having me. In Canada, it's early in the morning, so you guys are all at the end of the day having your cocktails, and I'm having a coffee. So happy to be here.
I'm sure it's the green screen blanked it out, so I'll take your word for it. There's coffee.
Just imagine it's a big coffee. Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Excellent. Good stuff. Okay. Well, Kevin, thank you for joining us. A pleasure to have you as well. You're the founder of Southern Leadership Academy in Canada, and they're a training and development organization dedicated to developing leaders through a people-centered approach that promotes a commitment to servant leadership purpose, principles, and practices. Over 25 years of executive HR leadership background for non-profit and government and non-profit sectors. Oh, sorry, for profit, government, and non-profit sectors. There you go.
All of them, every one of them.
All of them.
That's right.
Every one of them. Fantastic. Okay, well, thank you. So you've been through the full boot camp with us, is that right? ATF and ACC.
I have, yeah. I did both of them at the same time. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. And I think that was probably about 2 years ago as well, if I remember correctly.
It was. Right? Yeah, it was the spring of 2020, I think, like sort of like right in the heart of COVID. And where we were all locked up and we didn't have anything else to do. So I decided to check out some Agile training.
Okay, excellent. And what were your kind of motivations behind that?
Well, to be perfectly honest, and I guess just sort of like tying back to sort of my experience and some of the work that I do and the background that I have, I had like zero experience, zero understanding of Agile as a whole when I got involved with Leadership Tribe and took the courses. The thing that sort of drew me to being interested in it was both kind of the concept of Agile and understanding a little bit more about what Agile was all about, because as a servant leadership practitioner, I'd always sort of heard that there was a connection, a strong connection between, some of the Agile processes and practices and that servant leadership mindset and that servant leadership philosophy. So that I think was something that was really interesting to me and something that I wanted to kind of learn a little bit about. And again, HR professional, not somebody who deals in product development or any of those different kinds of things. So had no real sort of clue about what Agile was and how Agile worked. And then, obviously it was a really easy kind of connection in for me with the ATF and the ACC, because there was such a strong kind of connection with coaching and team facilitation and sort of changing mindsets in that area or that sort of like realm on the people side, that I think made a real strong connection for me and a real interest in it. So that's kind of what drew me to the boot camp. Gave me an opportunity to kind of like look at both meeting the needs of the individual through the coaching sort of philosophy, and really sort of like leading teams in a different way through the kind of like that team facilitation mindset.
Excellent. Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I can really see how I can see why IC Agile have kind of put these two courses together, because they definitely complement each other very well. They work well at standalone also, but when you're going through that journey, and we do find that a lot of people sign up for ATF to begin with, and before the course is finished, have reached out and said, when's the next ACC course? Because they want to continue the journey, right, and to continue the journey across there. But yeah, that mixing together of how to run meetings efficiently, how to facilitate conversations, how to draw information out, that can sometimes bring bottlenecks or problems to the surface that may have been unaware of, then gets coupled with, okay, how can we then coach these individuals or coach these teams to start to get through these bottlenecks and get through these problems and on to the next stage. So excellent. Okay. So was there anything in the learning objectives in particular on the course that kind of stood out or jumped out to you at all that you can recall?
Yeah, there was. And again, I was really sort of drawn to the whole concept of coaching, as well as sort of like Agile coaching, that Agile coaching mindset. So, and again, I think that Agile coaching mindset has a real sort of like strung both of the two courses together, because obviously, I don't think you can have an Agile coaching mindset for individuals, but then not have that sort of translate into the way that you lead teams, right? So for me, the Agile coaching mindset and the Agile coaching stance, I think, was something that was really sort of like intriguing to me, but also really important. But then the other piece that I thought was really kind of was really important for me, or a real learning for me, was just sort of that delicate sort of balance between mentoring and coaching, and knowing when to sort of understanding the differences between mentoring and coaching, and when to sort of participate, in a leadership as a leader, participating with your teams or with individuals, and being more of a mentor, or, taking kind of like that step back and kind of really taking that coaching stance, and letting individuals, sort of find their own, chart their own course, find their own direction, take their own sort of, their own chances. And so kind of just understanding that transition between those two, and understanding that you can be both, I think, is something that's also really important. And so I really took a lot out of that. And again, that translates both at an individual level as well as a team level. So whether it's, you're working with an individual and you're having to kind of toggle back and forth between, being somebody who's a coach, or being somebody who's a mentor, or depending on sort of like the expertise level that's in your team, and understanding, who's in your team, and whether this is a seasoned group of individuals, or maybe this is a newer group. How do you sort of like facilitate and lead that team and support that team from a coaching perspective, or perhaps from a mentoring perspective when needed. So those kinds of learnings, I think, were really, really critical and really important for me, and just sort of really opened my mind to kind of a number of different ways and approaches of things that you can lead teams and you can coach individuals.
Yeah, that is an excellent point, actually. I think you've hit the nail on the head there, in terms of there's a time to coach and a time to mentor. And
absolutely,
sometimes the lines blur, and sometimes you don't even notice that they're blurring. But when
That's
you're
right.
aware of it, you can pick and choose when to go into them. Sometimes, I have it sometimes where I was, like I say, a bit of a hybrid model between the two. I'm mentoring or coaching with somebody, and if I'm coaching them, I may ask permission. Would you mind if I give some experience on how I did this? Which kind of tiptoes into the mentoring side of things, but I tried to ask a bit of permission first of all. But that is something that, I definitely picked up when I went through the ACC journey as well, in that, the difference between mentoring and coaching, which I wasn't fully clear about going into the course, to be honest. And it highlighted that for me, and the benefits of when to use which and how to use them.
You bet.
That's great. Excellent. Any recommendations to anybody out there that's considering the course? Any steps to take beforehand, or any advice you can give to somebody?
Yeah. So again, I mean, I sort of feel, with the majority of people that I've met within sort of the community, the Leadership Tribe community, and a number of people that, I've interacted with, whether it's through these webinars or through these, a lot of different interactions, it feels like I'm kind of the fish out of water in terms of sort of being the HR professional who learned about Agile. And now there's like an Agile group that are sort of like curious about other leadership, coaching, servant leadership kinds of philosophies. But I think that really the key is just a real strong understanding of, for me, Agile is really about changing structures and systems, and the people component of that has to align, right? So I think when you're really sort of focused on everybody that seems to understand Agile and seems to believe in it, like I believe in it now, understands that there is a shift that has to happen, right? A shift that has to happen from some of those structures and some of those processes and practices. And if you're not able to shift your leadership practices and the way that you engage your people, it doesn't connect. And so for me, the facilitation and the coaching are such key components of operating a truly agile, organization, or a truly agile team, that it's like having, you can't have one without the other. And so I think if you're an agile professional who really, believes and understands, the structure and the changes that need to be made, in order to, produce better products, or have a greater, level of organizational excellence, that it cannot happen without sort of that facilitation and that coaching and that shift in mindset within the leadership team and within the management team. And so this is just for me, a really critical first step in understanding that shift has to happen. And it opens up a whole bunch of great opportunities for leaders and for anybody within the Agile realm to shift their mindset in the way that they interact with individuals and facilitate and coach.
Yeah, No, great points there, and I think you've touched on a great. You brought up the importance of it being almost top down and also bottom up at the same time.
Absolutely.
In terms of adoption and success from a project like this when it comes to transformation. If you've just got one of those sides, if the leadership are all on it, but it's not filtering down and actually giving the tools to the people on the front line, just saying that we're going to be agile now and just saying we're going to do daily stand-ups is very different to actually learning how to do these things and facilitate properly.
And you see organizations like that all the time, right? Like, all of a sudden we're agile. Congratulations, everybody. And we're going to do a couple of different things. We're going to kind of like, we're going to make these, these other pieces, but then we're still going to lead through the old school kind of philosophy, and it falls flat. And everyone kind of looks around like, well, why didn't this work? Well, it didn't work because you didn't transfer your, that agile mindset to that leadership philosophy as well. Right.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because I have seen cases where it's almost been as though they've added the ceremonies to their existing workload. Yeah. So it's just a whole bunch of new extra work added on with all the same processes and bottlenecks and issues elsewhere with this new things to worry about, new training boards to learn.
Slap the agile sticker on it and call it a day.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. Yeah. So it needs both ways going down. We've also got one of our major clients, they're based in the US. They've now started every new employee that joins their marketing function goes through our ATF training as part of their onboarding process. So, and what they've said, and I think it does ring true, is that if everybody in that team is working a similar kind of way and knows the same principles, it makes everyone's life a lot better than just having one or two people that know that way of working. And then, it's not as efficient as it could be. So we are starting to see a bit of a pattern now. And like I say, ATF in particular, I think it's just such a powerful course and so useful just to anybody. Excellent. And maybe just to finish up, you've been through a lot of training in your time. You've delivered a lot yourself as well. But anything about Leadership Tribe in how our great team of trainers deliver things that stand out for you?
Yeah, well, I think Lindy touched on it earlier. I think the way that the Leadership Tribe training is structured, I think is one really unique way. And again, doing this online and doing this over Zoom is always difficult to keep people engaged and difficult to keep people sort of like focused. But I think that the structure and sort of the lead from the back of the room kind of philosophy that Leadership Tribe sort of adopts in terms of allowing a lot of opportunity for people to to go into breakout rooms and to kind of like learn from each other, to discuss concepts, to kind of sort of leverage our experiences and some of the things that we've seen, in our workplaces, and how we can adapt them, or we can sort of shift them to look at things through that agile lens, I think is really has been really positive. And I still sort of like look back at a lot of the sessions and the conversations that I had, during my time in the boot camp. I love and have always loved the concept, and in fact have adopted it in our training as well. Just the 45-minute kind of like time sort of spurts that you have for training. So in the courses that I took, we had a 45-minute sort of session where we were all engaged and focused, and we'd learn a new concept, or Christian would teach us a new sort of skill, and then we'd have a 10-minute break, which allowed us to get up and walk around and sort of have a little bit of time away from our screens, and allow us to kind of like regroup, and whether it was answering emails or going for a glass of water or taking a walk around the house or whatever it was that we needed to do, brought you back and really kind of like allowed you to be refreshed, but also sort of focused and ready to learn for that next 45-minute interval. So I think that's brilliant. I think it's a very it's a really important thing for people to kind of to keep engaged in learning, especially over a 4-hour period. So that I thought was really incredible. And then again, the facilitators are top notch, very engaging. Again, Krishna was mentioned in the past in the other two speakers, and he's phenomenal. He's a rock star, and I think that you can learn a lot from the team here. They've got a ton of experience and a ton of they've got a ton of great facilitation skills, but sort of blending all of that into the approach that Leadership Tribe has, I think makes it a real winning content and course delivery system. So I think you guys do a fantastic job.
Brilliant. Thank you for that, Kevin. So Christian's going to be very pleased when he hears these comments, but it's the whole team. That whole training function we've got,
absolutely,
the whole team we've got are just excellent.
For sure.
They're all just getting stronger and stronger. And that's what's the most motivating part for me, really. I'm on the revenue and operations side of things, but I know that once a course starts, it's safe hands. I don't worry that there's going to be anything else other than more work coming, which is the good thing about it, to be blunt. So that's that's great. And there was something else I was going to ask as well about the 45-minute thing. Yes, that has been well received. Yeah, time blocking and then a break, time blocking and then a break. Like I said earlier, we moved to a new world now. It's all done via Zoom. It's so hard to stay focused for that amount of time without that little break. So we try to be as strict as we can on it, but also keep it, as lighthearted as it needs to be. But it really does help break up that session. Even though there's those breaks in there, I really do feel like the participants learn more because they don't have that point where the brain's like, I can't take any more in. It doesn't really ever hit that point of saturation of information because of those breaks. And 9 times out of 10, you come back and Krishna's dancing as well.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've ever seen those ones. Yeah, he's got his music blaring and he's dancing away.
Yeah,
fantastic. Kevin, that was great. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Your insights and understanding of why you chose the courses and what you've got for them, which has been invaluable. So thank you as well. So we're going to have a Q&A session in a few minutes. I'll just take you off of there. So I can see we've got a few questions coming through on the other line. So we'll go through the questions in a moment. But just before we do, I did make a promise earlier that there was a new promotion coming up. So where's the screen share gone? Here it is. So as I mentioned, we are releasing a new promo code. It goes live today and it will run until the end of July. So the promotion code is going to be Next Step 22. And the special offer is going to be if you book any course between now and the end of this year, and you make the booking within July, you will get 15% off any booking that you make through the Leadership Tribe website. So if you go to leadershiptribe.com, actually let me make this a little clearer. There we go. So leadershiptribe.com will give you the US friendly time zones and pricing. leadershiptribe.co.uk for the European time zone, and leadershiptribe.in for the Asia time zone. You'll get all the time zone friendly courses. The offer applies to all courses booked in July for any course in 2022. So the promo code is Next Step 22. You can enter that at the checkout, and no matter which course you book with us, you'll be able to save 15% off. Let me put that in here somewhere as well. 15%. There we go. Save that to the bit we're going to send out. Present. There we go. So promo code, sorry, I had a PowerPoint issue earlier. I've had to remake everything very quickly in Canva. I realized I didn't finish that last bit off. So yeah, there we go. So promo code next step 22, any of our courses, 15% off moving forward. So we will have a quick jump now into the Q&A section. Artie, thank you for sharing the links and the code in the chat window there as well. Thank you. So I'm going to invite the panelists back down to join. And we'll have a quick look at some of the questions. So first one we have is, how is Agile different from PMP? Any volunteers on that one at all? Fastest fingers first. No? It's quite a long question. I think that's quite a deeper question to be answered quickly in here. I think we'll maybe come back to that one. PMP is a bit more focused, more of a framework, I believe, in terms of just how you would manage a project. Whereas Agile is really more of a set of principles that you would follow that can be applied to, to anything. How you manage your day-to-day, your to-do list, through to how you run a major program. It's a more of a iterative way of working in smaller chunks, where you're not really defined by you do this and then you do this and then you do this. It's more you go, you go less of a framework. So yeah, I think PMP is more prescriptive, whereas Agile is a lot more flexible and a lot more adaptive as you go along from there. Other questions as well. One here may be aimed at Kevin. How would you summarize mentoring versus coaching? Just as a kind of quick summary on that.
Well, I think the difference is, for me, like, mentorship is about providing your perspective, your experience, things that you've seen perhaps, or things that maybe you have identified, and sharing that information with the individual that you're speaking to or speaking with. Coaching, on the other hand, is less about me sharing what I know, and more about having a conversation with you to allow you to find the path that you believe is the best, for you to move forward. And so I think the trick here is, as somebody who's both a mentor and a coach, from a coaching stance, you definitely want people to sort of share their information. You're asking questions to draw out really truly what they already know, but just need to kind of find a way to to conceptualize it, or to put it into a way that they understand that they have the answers, and that they're going to choose the path that they need to go. And then the mentorship piece is maybe perhaps there isn't a lot of awareness or a lot of understanding, or maybe you know that there's a roadblock or a potential sort of pitfall that's ahead of them that you want to try and kind of like gently sort of nudge them away from, so that they're not you're not setting them up to fail. So for me, in a nutshell, that would be the contrast between mentoring and coaching.
No, that's great. Thank you for that. I think that's a great overview in terms of the two. And I say that, like we mentioned earlier, there's sometimes definitely a crossover between them, and it's about finding the right time.
Yeah, for sure. And sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead, Kevin. I was looking for another question.
I'm all good. Sorry. No, I'll let you go.
Are you sure? Okay. Moritz, I've had a question as well regarding job hunt. It's not job hunting necessarily. Certification. Have you found that any employees have been asking for any NAIC Agile certifications in general, or is it more of a nice to have kind of thing versus experience?
Personal experience is really, it's just a reminder that sometimes it feels like, okay, you're sent out when you don't have it. Like in the job hunt, it's really like most of the times already in the descriptions of the job advertisement. But of course, they would say, yeah, it's more nice to have than really a requirement. But that's not true from what I see. So that's for one of the reasons why I did it, just to really tick the box and say, okay, that's not the reason why I want to be kicked out of this this certification. And honestly, I've experienced it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a fair point. And I mean, there's also an element when it comes to job applications as well, is that there's a lot of experience can be with a different outlook or a different way of looking at it, can be described in another way. There's a lot of things, a lot of tasks people do, which is project management, but it's probably not thought of as project management. Now, even if you're on an event for somebody, you've got to handle a budget, you've got to handle a deadline, you've got to handle people. I've got a friend of mine who's a teacher, and he's been taking 15-year-olds on holiday to other countries skiing in groups of about 25, 30 people, 25, 30, 15-year-old children on holiday skiing, getting them to an airport on time and on the plane, I think is a harder project than an experienced project manager will be doing working in a corporate environment. So, there's a lot of skills that you can bring on. So I think Ambarish asking the question there about how to get hands-on with experience. I think, yeah, you can translate a lot of things that you do, sometimes even outside of the workplace, into actual proof that you can handle projects and you can handle timelines and deadlines. So I wouldn't be too put off by the lack of experience. But having these certifications can just help put a little bit of quantification next to it, just to say that you've got that level of standard on there. I think that's where the benefit is, as opposed to just getting the certificates and hoping that's going to be enough to get them. How does certification help with not having experience in the project? Well, it's kind of what I'm saying with the last bit there. The certification is going to help show that you've had training to a certain standard. But if you can identify other ways you've used those skills and translated those skills, then you may be able to bridge that gap. Not a perfect system, but it may help along there as well.
Sometimes you realize, to add to this, Hassan, sometimes you even realize, well, even if you don't have a business project managed, just as you mentioned, you can translate already what you experienced. But this course already helps to understand, well, that's true, actually. That makes sense. And then you can even start your project on the job search to give it a purpose, to use some methods here and understand your own approach differently.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of transferable skills. I always say there's a big difference between having 5 years experience in your CV, is that 1 year's experience 5 times, where you've just been doing the same thing for 5 years in the same role in the same team, versus somebody that's had 2 years experience, but they've changed position in there, or they've had a new product release, or they've done something different. So 5 years experience could be 1 year 5 times. So I said, me personally, when I'm hiring, I'm not that focused on the number of years. It's about what that person can actually do and the skills in there. And someone going out of their way to certify and learn more and show that willingness to go through the continuous learning journey, that's a tick in the box for me. Anyway. Okay, so I'm conscious of time, so I don't want to say, I want to be respectful of that. Panelists, have you got a couple more minutes, or are you just to sort of wrap up 1 or 2 more, or do we need to jump off? There's just a couple of more left. I'll be very quick. Let's have a quick look. Actually, no, that one we've kind of covered. Why? Oh, yeah, we answered that one already. So why are we naming Tribe Squad? Are we following Spotify approach or scaled approach? So I think panelists can jump in and help here if you want, but I think what being asked here is, I don't believe there is a one approach or scale, one approach fits all situation at all. In some organizations, yeah, you might want to move into squads where you have different teams. Some are focused on particular projects or particular business units, and then you have another group which is more like a resource allocation that can flick between the two of them. to flip to the other teams, for example, and keep it very flexible. Some companies go to a flat organization. Some need to have that hierarchy in there. Some companies have different things. We don't, Leadership Tribe anyway, we don't subscribe to a one, we go in and we deliver Agile and that's all we do. That's not the way that we approach things. So I'm not sure we'll be best placed to answer on that one. I don't know if anyone's got anything else to add on that at all, but I would say that, yeah, there's no one size fits all. Cool. And duration to get the certification. So the courses we're talking about today, it's 16 hours for the Agile Team Facilitation course, that's ATF. And ACC is 20 hours, 20 to 24 hours. So 16 hours plus 24 hours, you're looking at about 40 hours in total for the Agile Coach Bootcamp. If you look on leadershiptribe.com, we run multiple sessions, I say different time zone friendly hours. Usually we run them in 4-hour sessions. So for example, the 16 hours of ATF would be 4 hours over 4 days, usually Monday to Thursday is how we would run them. So yeah, that's how long it would take to get these certifications. You can run the ATF course standalone, you can run the ACC standalone, or you can run them both together as a boot camp, either back to back or with a space between them. So we're quite flexible on how you run them. All we ask is that, the course that you're assigned to, you do need to get through the hours on there. So make sure you've got the time allocated away. As I mentioned before, IC Agile, they take the certifications very seriously, so as do we, and we want to make sure everyone gets the right learning objectives covered when we go through them. So yeah, it's important to, if you do sign up for a course, you've got the time available to commit to those hours. CAT and ENT, we won't go into detail on those on this call. That's the next stage of the journey. So when we have ICP ENT, which is the Enterprise and CAT Coaching Agile Transformation courses, prerequisites for that are that you've either completed ATF and ACC already, or you have 3 to 5 years experience in the enterprise working through Agile transformations. So ICP CAT and ICP ENT, great courses as well, but they're more the next level up after these courses, which we'll probably see these guys on talking for us very soon in a couple of years' time, maybe, or even sooner, who knows. But it's definitely the next stage in the journey. So again, we run ICP, CAT, and ENT courses every quarter. So we've also got cohorts running for them as well. Again, leadershiptribe.com has got all the details you'd need. Excellent. Cool. So yeah, going to be respectful of time, and we're going to close the session off now, certainly for our panelists. So I'm happy to stay behind if there's anybody in the attendees who'd like to ask any further questions. But I'd like to just thank Lindy, Kevin, Moritz. Thank you so much for your time. It's really appreciated. We loved having you on our courses. We loved having you associated with Leadership Tribe as well. And yeah, thank you so much for sharing your experiences and thoughts. It's been great. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye. Cool. So yeah, if there's any attendees still on, I'll hang on for a couple of minutes in case there's any more questions. Otherwise, I'll close off in a couple of minutes if there's no more questions. Thank you. Rather than look at my face, look at that. Cool. Okay, it looks like we have no more questions coming through. So thank everybody for attending. Much appreciated. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.